The health minister warns Dominicans to remain vigilant against the mosquito which carries the Zika virus until the cause of microcephaly is conclusively determined. Prime Minister Skerrit to use his visit to India to make a case for the establishment of an offshore campus of an Indian university in Dominica. And life skills training improves job prospects for at-risk youth. I am Idona Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Welcome back. First up, the health minister is advising the general public that until it can be proven that the Zika virus is not the cause of microcephaly, they are to continue with precautionary measures. The Ministry of Health early this year informed the public that the Zika virus may cause a birth defect in affected pregnant women.
There is no real scientific evidence that has linked the Zika virus to the microcephaly. What has been done, this assumption, this medical assumption has been made based on statistics, meaning that going back to countries where the Zika virus, where we had outbreaks of the Zika virus, they did notice a corresponding increase in infant microcephaly and some other malformation. So until such a matter can be proven otherwise, I think we better be safe than sorry and assume that there is this linkage between Zika and microcephaly.
Dr. Daru responded to questions raised concerning border control.
Border control really is useless against Zika because you're not going to see somebody stepping off a plane looking sick, but they will be carrying the Zika virus.
In other major developments, thousands of college students from Punjab, India and elsewhere in Asia will discover and get to know more about the Commonwealth of Dominica when Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit mingles with them on graduation day next Tuesday. Prime Minister Skerrit has been invited to attend and address the commencement ceremony of Lovely Professional University. Lovely is the largest single-campus university in India, offering more than 200 academic degree programs. The Dominica Prime Minister was selected as chief guest of the convocation for his, I quote, enormous global impact, unquote, being among the youngest yet longest-serving leaders in the democratic world today. In tribute to this distinguished record, the university will, at the same commencement ceremony, confer on Prime Minister Skerrit an honorary doctorate in literature. Mr. Skerrit will spend time in the Punjab state selling Dominica as an ideal location for an offshore campus of the university. From India, the Prime Minister journeys to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, where he will meet with current and future investors, particularly those associated with several infrastructural projects earmarked to start in Dominica in the weeks and months ahead. During Mr. Skerrit's absence from the state, Honorable Justina Charles, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, will act as Prime Minister. MarpinNewsFeb19th2k16 Limited would like to commend the Honorable Prime Minister on his achievement of honorary doctorate in literature. If drastic action is not taken soon, the OECS region will have to pay more than 3 times its current food import bill in the near future. That warning was given by agricultural economist with the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO. The agricultural economist is on island facilitating an OECS Agricultural Action Plan workshop.
So right now, we know that if nothing is taken, no actions, our food import bill by 2020 would be more than 3 times higher than it is now. So we know what is going to happen. We know the statistics. So of course, we're here, we're working, because the action should be taken as soon as possible.
Agriculture Program Officer with the OECS Commission says the introduction of climate-smart agriculture is being used as a means to help boost agriculture within the region.
The issue of climate change and variability is now being given even further consideration in terms of how we develop a reoriented agriculture program. We're also looking at for the region, the use of geospatial information for decision making. We're also looking at developing a program in water harvesting and water recycling for the OECS. The new agriculture program really takes into consideration a number of the issues as it relates to the lessons learned, not just in Dominica, but also in St. Lucia and St. Vincent.
The OECS Agriculture Focal Points meeting came to an end on Thursday. In more news, over $100,000 distributed to Petit-Savan and Dubic people to ease some of the burden placed on them after being displaced by Tropical Storm Erica. On Thursday, over 300 people from both communities received a second batch of visa cards from the Dominica Red Cross to assist with their needs.
The value the first time around was 125 US per card. This time we've increased it to 209 US on the card, on the debit card. And from donations that Red Cross received directly, both locally and regionally, we are providing another 100 US per household. So altogether they will receive 827 EC dollars this time around. As you know, some of the recipients from both Petit-Savan and Dubic are relocating to rental accommodation and more permanent accommodation. So the purpose of these funds is to assist them in transitioning from the shelters to their own homes.
A woman who now lives in a home with assistance from government says the money will go a long way.
I don't work. We don't really have a job now. Sometimes we have to go to the village to get little things that we have left, but it is a great help for us. That's what I have to do, shop for my children.
How many children?
Many, but what I'm looking after is about 7.
And all of them stay with you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, they go to school?
They go to college, primary school and preschool.
I'm thankful for all what Red Cross have been doing and every other thing that the other organizations have been doing. So I say thank you.
Peanut Burns says at the end of the collection process, recipients were required to participate in a survey to find out if they were satisfied with the money and how they used it.
Bearing in mind that this cash transfer program is being used for the first time in the English-speaking Caribbean national societies here in Dominica. So this will be like a pilot of this program, which will hopefully be duplicated in other national societies.
The surveys were conducted using an online data kit by Red Cross, which was automatically updated onto their data collection system. The Red Cross director says although they have stopped the distribution of goods, there are still items that some people have not collected because they are still at shelters. On the agriculture scene, the Londonderry Tissue Culture Facility has been selected by the Banana Accompanying Measures BAM program to be revitalized through the National Authorizing Office. National Authorizing Officer Colin Roberts told Channel 5 News in addition to support for banana and plantain farmers, BAM has also taken the initiative to provide support to farmers of other crops. Roberts says the Londonderry Tissue Cultures Facility is a focal point of BAM.
We have 2 tenders out actually. One to improve the access to the Londonderry facility. Post Erica, the access was damaged by the river, so there's no longer a road. So we've tendered out for the road and the retaining wall to protect the investment. Then we also have a supply contract for the supply of materials and equipment to operationalize that facility.
Through BAM, there have been additional tenders for support of agricultural stations. Roberts says BAM will also be providing production support for livestock and crops post-Tropical Storm Erica.
So we have a tender already out in terms of artificial insemination and embryo transfer program. This applies to support that program for the Ministry of Agriculture. Additionally, we have tenders out for agro-processors. That's another target for us in terms of the agro-processors in Dominica. We have done technical audits of those agro-processors that are part of the Dominica Manufacturers Association. And we've also recruited a firm to provide training to those agro-processors. And finally, we're going to provide the Dominica Manufacturers Association with agro-processing equipment. So the tender is out for the agro-processing equipment.
There is also an aspect of youth outreach in which the European Union has begun consultations with the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture to provide support for youth in agriculture. Meanwhile, other farmers who will require assistance for certification will be supported.
Providing building material and plumbing fixtures and stuff. So on farm, they have the requisite support for certification, because we know that it's not only about providing the food or producing the food, but doing it in a safe and sanitary condition. So we have a program with the Dominica Bureau of Standards in terms of providing the support to key farmers, in terms of ensuring that their farmers meet certification standards.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, an influx in white goods at Fokole landfill, but what to do with them is the question. That and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. The manager of the Fokole landfill wants improvements in the system to address the landfill's limited capacity. Jana McLaurin says landfill staff had a double responsibility on Thursday's National Mosquito Reduction Cleanup Campaign Day, since it was also the day for normal garbage pickup and tire collection.
We had already tried a cleanup a couple weeks ago. However, these things come in daily, you know, apart from today, they come in daily. So we have to try to make additional space and push additional waste aside to make space for today.
McLaurin says an additional 50 to 60 truckloads of white goods and metals came in Thursday from the cleanup campaign. She says this brought to light the need for the right tools and equipment at the landfill to reduce the space taken up by these discarded items.
There are different types of equipment that exist that can crush those things for export and so on. So the right system has to be in place. We need the support of all the stakeholders in the first instance to get the equipment and to have the system running for those white goods to get a smaller volume, use less space.
She says in the meantime, Dominicans need to be more aware of their habits and adjust them.
Some people I know in Dominica want to have 2 stoves, want to have a fridge every year. You know, those things we have to be very, very responsible and very aware and conscious of the way that we are living, because everybody produces waste. Every single person produces waste. So we just have to be more responsible and be more educated. Education has to be out there for people to know what to do, how to live, and we will kind of solve the problem. In the long term, Dominica definitely needs a solution for disposal of waste and storage of waste.
60% of participants of the Life Skills Training Program, including high school dropouts and youth at risk, have been able to secure employment locally. The Youth Development Division observed Open Day on Friday at its youth centers, where it celebrated its efforts at giving youth a second chance at either gaining a livelihood or finding a career path. The Life Skills Training Program has been around since the 1980s.
Well, my task is to get them to think of knowing what it is they would like to do. And even if they cannot, but to entice them to want to come to a program where they can develop the aptitude of wanting to do something with themselves. When it comes to job placement, I have to ensure that I look at every single training in every single module that we have at the Youth Development Division and kind of build a profile of every one of them, and then for me to send them to the appropriate places for attachment.
More than half of the participants who have completed the program are fully employed after being placed on job attachments.
60%. When we did our tracer studies, that is what it revealed, that young people who got trained with us and went on attachment are working. This is amazing information. You know, we do that using our SPSS tool. It's a software tool that you can utilize to analyze research material. There are employers who call to ask us for young people for the institution. They will literally call the youth division and say, look, I'm looking for a young person who has that skill or have that talent or who is able to handle that kind of, and then and we look for files and we find those young people, and normally we send maybe 2 or 3. They interview these people and they select the best one that they want.
One of the participants of the Roseau Youth Center program is Barincia Simon, who is enrolled in several classes, including maths, science, and hospitality.
It's a second chance in the sense of bringing up my education level from where it was to where it is now. Well, it changed me to be persistent in what I'm doing, because I can tell you before I used to be laid back, I wouldn't like really study, but now I take the opportunity to take time to do it. When I go home, even if it's an hour before bed, I take the time to study, and I'm doing better for sure. The grades are coming up, so I can say it's a good program in my benefits. It's not like you have to pay for it. It's free for all that subject, comparing if you have to go and do it somewhere else where you have to pay so much money. So I believe that if you come and you enroll in the program, it helps you get a job if you don't have one.
A children's book to help identify safe and unsafe touches and the different forms of abuse is now in circulation. The book is an initiative of the Child Abuse Prevention Unit of the Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs. Coordinator of the unit, Gemma Azil-Lewis, hopes the book, Keeping My Body Safe, will help children identify all forms of child abuse.
So we did the testing with questionnaires, asking the children certain questions, and of course bringing the testing copy of the book to the children, that they would go through it from cover to cover, page by page, and tell us what they think. And it was based on their feedback that we have the final draft today, because we wanted to ensure that whatever they thought that should be added or should be removed was indeed removed, and what should be added was added.
5 primary schools participated in the draft of the book. The feedback from children who participated in the draft of the book was revealing.
The reasons, for instance, when we spoke, when we did strangers, we had the stranger outside by a vehicle. They said, "Miss, why don't you put the stranger in the vehicle, offering the child $5 to come into the vehicle?" We had a certain time where we had the perpetrator giving the child $100 for causing sexual abuse. They said, "Miss, they doesn't give all that, you know. Sometimes it's just $5 or a lollipop."
The book, which primarily addresses the different forms of child abuse, also illustrates safe and unsafe touches, secrets, bullying, and reporting.
I also took into consideration that, what if the children can't read? What if they can't read properly? Yes, we have the words in the book, we have the pictures, but what if a child picks it up and they cannot read properly? So what we did was to ensure that the picture told a story. So even in case the child who picks up this book cannot read properly, but looking at the picture, they can understand what is happening there to the child. So we also looked at that to ensure that it reached everyone.
And head of the Child Abuse Prevention Unit hopes a recently completed training will sensitize participants on the issue of child abuse in Dominica. Participants in the 3-day training were early childhood practitioners and daycare service providers.
Let them know exactly what is child abuse, let them know the signs of child abuse in terms of the different forms, the behavioral signs, the physical signs, so that they can identify, and also to know the reporting protocol. If they suspect a child is being abused, how do they report? Who do they report to?
Lewis says the training session was conducted in all districts around Dominica.
It was more sensitization so that they are aware of what to do and what not to do when they have come across a case of child abuse. In the end, we developed poems and certain designs, illustrations with slogans as to child abuse, and it is hoped that these poems that they developed will be produced and made in the form of posters or flyers and be distributed within the preschools and the daycare centers.
That's news. Your sports highlights next.
First up, the race to the championship in the 2015-2016 DFA Flow Premier League has been narrowed down to 2 teams. Last year's champions have no chance of regaining their title as they are too low down on the leaderboard.
A new champion will be crowned this season as the reigning champions Kyrie FM Exodus Football Club are too far back in points to regain their title. With only 8 matches left for the season, Dubla Football Club head the points table with 33 points from 12 matches played. Bafa State Football Club are in second place on 28 points from 11 matches, with defending champions Kyrie FM Exodus Football Club in third place on 21 points, followed by Caribbean Cool Harlem United in fourth place on 20 points from 11 matches. Surgical Surface are in fifth place on 15 points from 12 matches, while newcomers to the league Signman Middleham United are in sixth place on 9 points from 12 matches, and Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers in seventh place on 7 points from 12 matches played, while Malta India Icons Football Club occupy the cellar position on 3 points from 12 matches played.
Football games continue over the weekend as contenders for the coveted title battle it out at Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth.
On Saturday, Surgical Surface will take on Caribbean Cool Harlem United at 3 p.m, while in a crucial doubleheader on Sunday, Bafa State Football Club will come up against reigning champions Kyrie FM Exodus Football Club at 3 p.m, to be followed by Dubla Football Club versus Signman Middleham United at 5 p.m.
And in Division 1 football, the preliminary round of that league came to an end on Thursday.
Cubechis Barbershop Bafa State defeated Trafalgar Football Club 4-0 last night at the Newtown playing field. Mosiah challenger Eustace Marshall, Fitzjolly and Dwight Frederick scored for Bafa State. The qualifying teams to the playoff run will be announced in a subsequent report.
In some secondary schools volleyball now, Northeast Comprehensive Boys beat Dominica State College at the grammar school. Northeast Comprehensive School won 3-2. Scores at the end of play were 25-17, 19-25, 19-25, 25-19 and 15-11. The Dominica State College girls automatically won their match against Wesley High School as only 2 members of the secondary school showed up for the play. And the match between the boys teams initially scheduled for play on Friday will now take place on Monday in Portsmouth. The male teams of Portsmouth Secondary School and Dominica Grammar School will go head-to-head in Portsmouth. The playoffs for booking a spot in the male semi-finals will take place on Thursday, the 25th of February, between ITSS and DSC at Grammar School. The girls' volleyball semi-final matches are scheduled for Friday, 26th February. DGS will take on ITSS at Grammar School, while Castlebruce Secondary School will go head-to-head with the Dominica State College at Castlebruce. Matches start at 3 p.m. And girls basketball continued in the secondary school basketball championships on Friday. The Dominica Grammar School faced the Dominica State College at the DGS grounds. Here's Andrea Louis with more.
Grammar School won with a 17-point lead and ended the game on 54-37. Vanelsia John and Kyla Winston both scored 16 each for DGS, while on the DSC team, Donisha Zave made 13 points and Melissa McGlaw added 10 points.
And over in Marigot, Portsmouth Secondary School faced off against the Northeast Comprehensive School. Andrea Louis has those results.
The North Secondary School thwarted the Northeast Comprehensive School, ending the match 65-12. Top scorers for the PSS were Jade Powell making 16 and Kashma Luke scoring 10. And for NECS, Lenika Cadet top scored with 8, while Narissa George made 2.
The next female basketball match will be on Monday at Benjamin's Park between Isaiah Thomas Secondary School and Portsmouth Secondary. Meantime, boys basketball action will resume next month with the Northeast Comprehensive School scheduled to take on the PSS at Marigot. A sensitization workshop for physical educators will get underway next month. This is one of the ways the Child Abuse Prevention Unit is making sports officials aware of child protection in sports. Coordinator of the Child Abuse Prevention Unit says the West Indies Cricket Board partnered with the unit in a similar workshop for cricket coaches.
In March, we are going to do another sensitization workshop with physical education coaches, cricket coaches. We have done the coaches already. We did that, and it is being done in collaboration with the West Indies Cricket Board and UNICEF. So we have done the cricket coaches, sensitized them on the issue of child protection in sports. Now we are going over to the physical education teachers.
The sensitization workshops will take place on a zonal level.
And we'll be doing that also in zones and we'll be doing the Southern District on March 7th, and later down in the year we will be doing it in the Northern District.
On to regional sporting action now. The two matches featuring the top and bottom two teams in the 4-day Professional Cricket League will hold extra special significance in the 7th round of the WICB Professional Cricket League Regional 4-day Tournament, which continues over the weekend. Over in St. Thomas, a 7-year hiatus has been broken as regional 4-day cricket returned to that country. Bottom place Leeward Island meet 5th place Windward Island Volcanoes in that country. In the other match of the round, the bragging rights are up for grabs as 3rd place Jamaican Scorpions tackle 4th place Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in a middle-of-the-table battle at Sabina Park. And 2nd place Barbados Pride face unbeaten leaders and reigning champions Guyana Jaguars at Kensington Oval in the oldest rivalry of the regional first-class game. The contest between the Pride and Jaguars could play a decisive role in the destination of the Headley Weeks Trophy, symbol of regional 4-day supremacy at the end of the season. Young athletes from around the country will converge on Winter Park Sports Stadium over the weekend for the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association's annual National Junior Championships. An opening ceremony at 9 a.m. on Sunday, 21st February will kick off the day's events.
The competition will be held in the following categories. We have the under 15, under 18, under 20, and open boys and girls. A few of the events to be held at that championship are the 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, long jump, shot put, javelin, high jump, and discus. All are encouraged to come and support Dominica's national junior athletes as well as our 2016 IFTA qualifiers at that meet.
It's time now to check the weekend's weather.
Good evening, Dominica, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I'm your presenter, Marshall Alexander. We begin by taking a look at earlier infrared satellite imagery and what it showed. This area of convection associated with a frontal boundary affecting the Leeward Islands and dipping southwards. Now, taking a look at earlier visible satellite imagery, what it showed. Just a few low-level clouds which moved across the area today, and this resulted in generally fair skies across Dominica. Now, taking a look at earlier radar imagery, what it indicated, just a few scattered showers across the islands to the north of Dominica. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair at first, becoming partly cloudy to cloudy with a few scattered showers. These conditions are expected to continue into early tomorrow, with conditions becoming fair to partly cloudy with only a few brief scattered showers. Sea conditions are expected to be moderate in open water, with waves peaking near 7 feet. Conditions for the next 3 days. Apart from a few late night to early morning showers, conditions are expected to be fair to partly cloudy throughout the 3-day period. For the Caribbean tomorrow, an increasing cloudiness and scattered showers expected across the extreme northern portion of the island chain, with fair to partly cloudy skies expected across the central and southern portion of the region. Our international cities forecast: partly cloudy skies can be expected in New York, overcast skies expected in Miami, some rain expected in London, with clear skies expected in Caracas and Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:28 a.m. and sunset at 6:11 p.m. For more information, you can call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit the website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing. Have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. The health minister warns Dominicans to remain vigilant against the mosquito which carries the Zika virus until the cause of microcephaly is conclusively determined. Prime Minister Skerrit to use his visit to India to make a case for the establishment of an offshore campus of an Indian university in Dominica, and life skills training improves job prospects for at-risk youth. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsFeb19th2k16 and watch our past newscasts on YouTube. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.